From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the PrimeTime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. And we start off the show with what happened last night. The Saints edged the Seahawks last night in a physical Monday Night Football game. That game was really ended on a bad penalty by Seattle late with a roughing the passer situation that looked like targeting as well, too. So, bad break for Seattle last night. Seattle is actually, for the first time since in almost 30 years, literally 30 years, they started their season off 0-3 at home. And we all know that Seattle used to be like the best bet for a home game. Now things are just getting different without Russell Wilson. There's a lot of things that were being hidden somewhat by Seattle. And there's a lot of flaws in this team as well. They couldn't get any running going last night. That was really what their mantra was last night. They really couldn't get Geno Smith going last night either. 12 of 22, 167 yards, only good for one touchdown. And that was the DK Metcalf, who had 96 yards on 2 catches. Now, that makes his yards after catch look pretty good, but other than that, he really wasn't that much of a threat, but it was an early touchdown in the game, which was 84 yards. So that worked out pretty well. But Jameis Winston had himself a pretty good game yesterday, 19-35 for 222 yards. Alvin Kamara was the story of the game, though. He was had 10 receptions for 128 yards and also ran for 51 yards, totaling in 179 when it came to total yards yesterday. And when you look at how many yards this team gained yesterday, the Saints, Kamara actually got at least 60% of those yards yesterday. They finished with 304. He finished with 179. Now, this is what takes me aback with the Seahawks. Their total yards yesterday were 219, and their quarterback was sacked 5 times yesterday. So this game should have been a big blowout for the Saints, or it should have been a close win for Seattle. But all in all, regardless, though, this was an ugly game last night. There was a lot of fist fighting going on throughout the night. Nobody got thrown out because it didn't get that crazy, but you could see a lot of the vets having to, pull guys back from each other so it wouldn't slow down the game and things like that. And I think the Saints played it about right. Yesterday, they just went through the motions of the game. They were able to get themselves an early lead in the second half as well, too, which was very helpful for this team. And they just went ahead and they took care of their business. They move on to 5-2, while Seattle is very surprising right now, are 2-5. So it is what it is at the end of the day. These teams are both going in different directions at this point. The Saints trying to stay afloat to get to the playoffs. And you know what? Seattle is just trying to just keep things kind of sane until they get Russ Wilson back. So with that, that's what it's going to be. So we move on to our next topic in hand, and that's going to be with the Georgia Bulldogs, the number 1 team in the nation, taking on their arch rival Florida and Jacksonville this weekend. And that game looks to be like it's going to be another one of these great Georgia-Florida games between the Gators and the Dogs. But we all know if it's really like if it came down to the actual animal, the Gator wins every time, right? So we have this. This is a big SEC showdown. Both these teams are, pretty good teams. The East Division squads, and pretty much Kentucky is still around, 4-1 right now on this 6-1 on the season. Florida's kind of ran into a little bit of a rough spot because Florida did start off in good graces. They were a top 10 team to start the season off. They were able to get 2 big wins to start the season. Then they got a really bad loss against Alabama where they lost by 2 points at home, and then came back the next week, beat arch rival Tennessee, then lost to Kentucky. Kentucky is the second place team in this division right now, and then blew away Vanderbilt, but then lost a heartbreaker to LSU last week, losing by 7. So this team comes in here 4-3, but this isn't your average 4-3 team. This team should be much better than this. When you look at it and think about it, you think to yourself, this team should really only have 1 loss on the season. Their losses, that the games that they lost were not bad losses at all. But they're giving a lot of points to Georgia right now in this game. And I think that's something that's going to come back to bite those in the butt who are doing that. Because, yes, you're the number 1 team in the nation. Yes, you have the best defense probably anybody's seen in some time now when it comes to college football as well, too. But at the end of the day, though, we know that this team still has its little discrepancy scoring points. I mean, yeah, they're averaging 38 points per game, but who has Georgia really played this season? So, thing is, it's like this: you have a very very good group here, and they're 7-0 right now. And yeah, they did beat 4 ranked teams in this group, but Arkansas was smoke and mirrors number 8. Then you had Auburn, who was decent, and then you have Kentucky, who's pretty good as well too. That they got a big win over, beating them by 17. So they've dominated everybody they played against, even in a 10-3 win against Clemson as well too. So this team does have a lot going for itself moving forward, but this is the game right here that could be the game that can up in this team as well too. So we'll see how it goes Saturday, but that 14 points is a bit too much for a team that's meeting a team on a neutral territory, unless Florida has out way more players than I'm assuming. You know what I mean? But I think that since it's a rivalry game, it's going to be much better than it looks on paper. So with that, we move on to our next subject in hand, and that's going to be the World Series. And the World Series is going to be pretty. It's going to be a lightweight World Series, in my opinion. Today, we have ourselves game 1. You have Charlie Morton on the mound for the Braves, and then you have Houston, the Astros, on the mound you have Framber Valdez. Now, pretty much this is like how it sets up, and this is why you got these two starting. But if it came down to it, Max Fried would probably be the game 1 starter going against I would say McCullers here. So pretty much this one is going to wind up being a pretty good pitching matchup today. But I think what happens here is that you're going to get a lot of scoring in this first game. I think that these guys are not going to have a fill-out period when it comes to the series. And just to give you guys a heads up, the series will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then we'll get back to Saturday night. And then if Game 5 is necessary, it will be on Halloween. Game 6 will be on November 2nd. And Game 7 will be on November 3rd. This series is favored to the Astros. Not by a lot, but the Astros are the minus 145 favorite to win the World Series right now. And if you had them earlier on in the year when they were about 12 to 14, 15 to 1, well, you're sitting pretty right now because the Astros are in very good shape to win this World Series. I want to see the Braves be the, underdog darling and everything like that, but I just think that the Astros are just a bit too much of a team and a bit too much at this point, and a team that has they're a little angry. You know what I mean? They've been disrespected over the last few years. So this is their chance to go ahead and right those wrongs just a little bit. You know what I mean? So pretty much there it is. Tonight will be a good one. Now I have my bets for you guys in a moment when we get to talking tickets. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and get into into the state of the Lakers. And also, we're going to talk NBA Tuesday games as well, too. So, you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And I'll be right back at you. Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube. All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. So, just giving you guys a heads up, PrimeWaveMedia.net is down right now, so you guys can DM me personally if you guys are interested in being a primetime sports investor. Right now, we have the end of the year special, and we also have the early bird special, and these are very, very high value packages for a very reasonable price. So, DM me, email me, whatever you need to do, and we'll get you situated and get you in the winner's circle and winning some money. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our state of the Lakers today. And the Lakers have a road game, the first of the season, against the old rival, the San Antonio Spurs. If everybody knows the Lakers' history in the 2000s, the Lakers have had their fair share of matchups with the team in the Southwest. That team had their three superstars. The Lakers at one point had Shaq and Kobe, then Kobe and friends, as I like to say, on the second run of the Lakers' dominance within the 2000s. So pretty much this game right here is going to be their first matchup of the season, and the Lakers are a 2.5-point favorite. The Lakers did very well against the Spurs last season and have done well against the Spurs the last few seasons at that. Now, you do have a Spurs team coming into this game 1-2. They did win their opener against Orlando. They won that game by 26 points and then came back around, lost by 6 to Denver, and then lost by 10 to Milwaukee. The Lakers started off their season with 2 losses to get everything going. And they weren't bad losses, but they were losses that were very surprising. Lakers losing by 7 to the Warriors. They losing by 10 to Phoenix in a game where the bottom kind of fell out when the Lakers did have a good lead. And then Memphis, they had to kind of scrap in this one and get a real gutsy, gritty victory against a very tough Ja Morant, who wound up with 40 points and 10 assists. LeBron James right now is averaging 26 points a game, and you have AD averaging 11 rebounds, while Westbrook is taking care of the assist game with his 8.7 assists a game. So, the big three is not all the way gelled yet, but you can see some things with this group that's going to make them very special. I know that the health of THT and Kendrick Nunn is very important, and also Trevor Ariza as well too. So the Lakers, once again, as I keep saying, aren't all the way where they want to be. The Lakers right now do have a good stat though. They are number 1 in 3-point percentage, and they're 9th in 3-pointers made this year as well. Now, their field goal percentage is top 10 right now for the first few games of the season, 46.8, and they're averaging 113 points a game. Now, the biggest problem with the Lakers that I see is the turnovers. There's 16 turnovers per game. That's not going to cut it with a team that's trying to chase a championship this year. So the Lakers really do have to nip that in the butt and see how they're going to get better. I think that they need to increase their assists a little bit more. They're at 25 a game. It will look better at about 28 to 30 a game to get the Lakers where they need to go. But really, really definitive stat is the Lakers rebounding in total right now. They're 27th in the league, only getting 42 rebounds a game. The whole purpose and point of having guys like DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard is for them to get a high volume of rebounds, and neither one of those guys are playing up to par at this point, in my honest opinion. So the Lakers do have a little bit of leeway since it's still early in the season, but this is something that needs to be fixed pretty quickly if the Lakers really do want to compete in the top half of the bracket when it comes to the 8 teams going into the playoffs. The Lakers want to be in the top 4 category, not here in the 5th through 10, because now you got to count in the 9th and 10th teams as well too. So you don't want to be in that group. You want to be in the 1 through 4 group. Right now, the Lakers aren't in that group, but with some adjustments, with some time, the Lakers should be good to go by the time we get to the Christmas game against Brooklyn, in my honest opinion. So there it is. That's the state of the Lakers. They have a game. They're going to be the favorite tonight, 2.5 points. They're minus 140 on the money line. If you're looking to spend some change on the Lakers, just a little bit of change. It's not that heavy, but you know what? 140 is 140. You know, you want them to win when you bet 140. Then you got plus 115 on the Spurs if you're wanting to back the Spurs. And you got an over under at 223 that I think that is a very, very hittable number if you are looking to get the over in the spot as well, too. So there it is. That's the state of the Lakers for you. And let's go ahead and get into the games for Tuesday night. And up first, we have an old rivalry between the Knicks and the 76ers. This game is going to be at the Garden of Madison Square over in Midtown Manhattan. So this should be a good game tonight. You have a Sixers team that's plus 100 tonight, and then you got the Knicks who are minus 120. It's a minus 1.5 on the spread, over under at 217. Right now, the Knicks are being led by Julius Randle once again this season in scoring. He's having himself a ball, 28.7 per game, to go with 6.3 assists per game as well, too. And he's getting 2.3 blocks a game. So right now, Julius Randle is once again looking like a all-star. Joel Embiid averaging 21 points on his side. And Andre Drummond having himself a pretty good time here with the Sixers early, back to his old self, averaging 13.5 rebounds a game. And then you have Embiid with 5 assists a game, and he got 2.7 blocks. So you have guys that are big men on this team that really play out of their position, but they play out of their position very well. Now, the Knicks did start off the season with 2 wins. They were looking for a third, but were upended Sunday when they lost a big lead to Orlando, a team that they beat by 25 points 2 days prior to that. Now you got the 76ers, who are 2-1 on the season, had a bad loss to Brooklyn on Friday, but bounced back with a good win over OKC, beating them by 12 points, and also an opening night 20-point win over the Pelicans. Now, when it comes down to scoring, the Knicks are averaging 121 to the 76ers 114. And then the Sixers are shooting the ball better at 48.5%. The Knicks are at 45.1. The Knicks' Achilles heel is the free throw line, 65.2, 29th in the league, while the Sixers are 7th in the league. Then you have 3-point shots made. The Knicks have made 54 of these bad boys this year, and they really do like to shoot. They have a lot of guys on this team that are very good at the 3-point ball. But I think that will be the gift and the curse for this New York team moving forward. And then you have a 76ers team that's was dealing with controversy, but they're not going to let that stop them from moving forward. Surprise, surprise here. Seth Curry's actually averaging 20 points per game in this early start of the season as well, too. So he's been the help, but they have 5 guys in double digits. This is good moving forward for a team that's trying to get to that next level. So, you know, when you look at it, you say to yourself, it ain't too bad. And it's kind of sunny in Philly right now. So, hey, you know, this is going to be a tough game for the Knicks tonight, but I think that they'll be all in on it as well, too. So I look forward to it. The game's going to be on TNT as well, too. So I expect some big things coming from both of these squads. So there it is, and we move forward, and we're going to go ahead and talk about our next game, which is going to be the Warriors and the Thunder. The Warriors coming in here as a big, big favorite, minus 400 on the money line and 9.5 on the spread. Thunder plus 300. 3-1 tonight. So that's a good number for people who are looking for the dog, but I don't know if you're going to trust the dog that has been beat by double digits in each game out. When you look at the Thunder, they lost by 21 to the Jazz. They lost by 33 to the Rockets, and then they lost by 12 to the 76ers. So this team is already starting off pretty bad this season. And you have a Warriors team that's won their first 3 games of the season, and they were able to get their first double-digit victory of the season against the Kings on Sunday. I think what happens here is that the Warriors have some confidence to them right now. They got a lot of depth to them right now. And OKC is just a really hopeless situation, in my opinion, as well, too. I know that they're not trying to be that bad of a team, but it is what it is at the end of the day, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and say that pretty much the Warriors should be able to run away with this one. But I think what happens here, though, is that you have a OKC team that does not score a lot of points. They've only won. They haven't even got to 110 at all this season. So expect this team to not score more than say 105, 106 tonight, in my opinion, to be honest with you. So if you might want to play the team total, you want to play the under on the Thunder tonight, in my opinion, because the Warriors are playing much better defense this year as well, too. And they played against really good teams before this game as well. They didn't play, and nobody on in those first 3 games were bad. The Lakers are expected to be a top team in the West. The Clippers are expected to be a top team in the West, and the Kings are considered a team that's on the brink of being a playoff team. So they did pretty well, and as they said, they swept the state of California, and that's exactly what they needed to do to start the season off with a confidence boost. Now they roll into OKC, a team that's really, really lost at this point, and they could go ahead and try to get themselves a nice 4th win in the victory in blowout fashion, hopefully. So we move forward, and let's go ahead and get into our next game in hand, and that's going to be a really good one as well, too. It's the Battle of Texas. It's going to be the Rockets and the Mavs. The Rockets and the Mavs meeting up, and this one should wind up being a pretty good game. I think that a lot of people are going to overspend on the Mavericks tonight. The Mavericks, who did lose their home opener by 27 points, 26 points actually. And came back around, won by 8 Saturday. They open up at home tonight as well, too. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be into, the Mavericks tonight. But the Mavericks have showed that they're kind of some slow starters right now. The Rockets are right now 1-2. And they got a good win over OKC. They showed that they can put some points on the board. They have the young rookie here as well too, who's very, very astounding. Jalen Green is playing some pretty good basketball right now. Jalen Green right now is averaging 16 points per game. Christian Wood picked up where he left off last year, because we all remember Christian Wood was the story for the Houston Rockets, but he got hurt and it pretty much upended his season. But right now, Christian Wood's doing a damn good job, 22.3 with 10 rebounds per game, trying to pace the way for this team. Kevin Porter Jr. is into this thing as well, too. And they still got the veteran Eric Gordon for now until, they make that move to get him elsewhere. But all in all, this is a team that's going to really, really not be that good this season, but they're going to fight. That's the thing about the Houston Rockets. They're going to fight. The Mavericks, though, that the Mavericks pretty much need, the start of the season, get this part out the way. You got Luka, who's almost averaging a triple-double a game right now. Tim Hardaway Jr. almost averaging 20 points right now. They need more from Porzingis as well, too. But all in all, though, it's still early in the season, so I don't expect the Mavs to erupt and be like one of the top teams in the West right away. But as the season progresses, they'll show that they're one of the better teams in that conference. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. This should be another really good game. I like the way it's setting up tonight as well, too, when it comes to how the spread is working. So there it is. There it is. Rockets and the Mavericks tonight. Battle of Texas. You got Houston versus Dallas tonight. So it's going to be real. All right, so we move on and we have ourselves the Nuggets at the Jazz. This is This was a pretty good playoff series in the bubble a few years back that featured Jamal Murray and Spider Mitchell. Right now, Jamal Murray is on ice from still recovering from the ACL injury. And then we also have pretty much just my man Jokic all by himself, but they have been able to start the season off pretty good. They were able to win their first two games of the season. They were upended last night, and they're at home in a Monday night crazy game. You know, the Cavaliers went ahead, took care of their business, beat them by 12 points. Cavs came out and were very physical to start that game, and it really helped them, move forward and get themselves a big win. Monster upset though, because the Cavs were a double-digit dog last night as well too. So that's something to look at. And the Nuggets are not scoring at a high clip to start the season off either, but they do have some pretty good field goal percentage. But their main issue right now is the free throw line as well. And then they're not hitting as many their 3-point percentage isn't as good this year either. And then the rebounding game, they could be better at that as well too. So there's just a lot of things going against Denver right now that will probably be much better by the time this season keeps progresses. But right now they're almost at 20 turnovers a game. That's not going to be good for a team that's trying to get back to the playoffs and be a feasible team in the playoffs. We all know that they have the reigning MVP in Jokic, who's now averaging 27.7 a game right now, and also getting 16 rebounds. So he's having himself a nice little year to start off, and is also getting almost 3 steals per game as well too. So this is something to look at. This is going to be the nightcap on TNT. This is going to be a much better game than it looks on paper, and I do expect this one to be kind of one of those games where a lot of people are going to overlook the Jazz because the way that the stats look right now, but the way the matchup sets up, the Nuggets and Jazz are pretty much even. So I'm going to go out on a limb tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and take the Nuggets as my dog of the day today. And we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how it shakes out. But all in all, that's what I'm doing tonight with this game. And with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take another quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and talk some tickets, okay? So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and let's go ahead and jump into the Talkin Tickets. And I got some pretty good tickets for you guys tonight as well too. I do have a nice, healthy, chunky, super high five for you guys tonight, and I got some pretty good bets in the World Series as well too. World Series tonight, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the Astros with the 1.5. That's a plus 155 hitter right there as well too. Will probably go up as we get closer to the first pitch. Then we have the Astros money line first 5 minus 130. Then I have the Braves going under 3.5 runs for the total game. And then I got the yes score in the first inning as well too. So there it is. World Series game 1 bets. And then we have the NBA Super High 5 at 45-1. I'm taking the Knicks with the minus 125 tonight at the Garden. And then we got the under 223 with the Warriors and the Thunder. the over 224 with the Lakers and the Spurs, the plus 10.5 with the Rockets, and then I end off with the Nuggets, who are now at plus 250. So hopefully they can go ahead and reverse what happened to them last night and be a big dog winning tonight. And they've already won this season as a big dog over in, well, they weren't that big of a dog, but yeah, they were. They were plus 200. They won on opening night as a big dog against Phoenix. So I'm going with that Odich, and I think that we're in a good place right now here. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to be our tickets for today. We got World Series bets, and we got the NBA Super High Five as usual. So pretty much with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, if everything goes the way it's supposed to go, we'll have the man, Mr. Mike Abadir, with us tomorrow. So you guys make sure to tune in to the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. And the movement is moving. And now it's time for me to go. So I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.